Hey everybody! So we're gonna take a look at the lineup that might be on opening night and for 2020-2021. It's my way too early lineup video. It's a little early because there's a lot of time still for some movement to happen. But let's take a look at what it might look like on opening day or opening night, because not baseball. Opening night in 2020-2021. So what I've got here on the board is I have the positions where I think we can pretty much write them in. The guys that's where they're going to play, we pretty much know that's where they're going to play. And then we'll fill in the rest of the roster after. I also have their heights because we've gotten a little bigger and we realize size is very important in the NHL these days. And so we're going to take a look at that as well. And I got some of the depth we have. I've got a couple of other things that we're going to put up here. So we're going to take a look at all this. Now, remember, teams are allowed to go over the cap by 10% in the offseason. So the cap is $81.5 million, so they're allowed to go $8 million and change over the cap. So pretty much almost $90 million. So we got to remember that. They have to be in line by opening night, so they need to get under the cap by opening night. And the Habs right now are over the cap by, I got it wrong on the last video when I said it, they are over the cap by $353,000. And that's not a lot of money, so it's going to be really easy to get under the cap, but they're going to probably have to move somebody, and we'll talk about that. Okay, so the guys that I'm pretty sure you can write this in the book for sure is the first line of Tatar, Deneau, and Gallagher. So Tatar, 5'10", Deneau, 6'1", and Gallagher, 5'9", but he plays like he's 7 feet. So we got that. That's the first line. That's a great 5-on-5 line. It's their shutdown line. They can contribute, obviously, to scoring, as Tatar was the leading point getter for last season, and Gallagher usually leads in goals, but he got injured and his goal totals were a little under, but I think he might have been tied for the lead, but Gallagher is usually the goal leader. So that line not only shuts down the other side, but they also contribute greatly to the offense. Second line, I'm quite sure you can put Suzuki as the second line center. He's 5'11". Thing about Suzuki, he is 5'11", so he's under 6 feet, but he's got the weight and the bulk and the body of a guy that's a little over 6 feet. Last I saw, he was like 201 pounds. So he's not easy to knock around. He's not easy to knock off the puck. And he's just a great player. He's going to be a great player. On his right side, you're going to have the newly acquired Josh Anderson, who is 6'3", 222 pounds, and been described as a beast out there by his teammates, by the fans in Columbus. This guy he bangs bodies, and can put the puck in the net a little bit. He does have a bit of a history with it. 27 goals one year, 19 goals another, 17 goals another year. So that's also on the second line, not playing with Panarin and Pierre-Luc Dubois, and not having any power play time. In Montreal, he's going to play with some good players. He's going to have some power play time. I think everybody's concerns about his offense. I don't really see it. Yes, it has to be proven by playing, but I think it's going to turn out really good. I think he's going to contribute to the offense, and in ways that people aren't considering. Him being a beast and banging bodies around is going to make a lot of room for Suzuki and for whoever on the other side on the wing. It's going to open up a lot of ice for them, and you're going to see their points totals go up. I believe this is what is going to happen, and that's going to be greatly influenced by this guy's size, Anderson, and the fact that he is just potentially a great power forward. So we'll see how that works out. On the third line, on the left side, we can pretty much guarantee Artturi Lehkonen, 6 foot. He's going to be playing there alongside Jesperi Kotkaniemi, that's KK, who is 6'2", and he's a young guy. He's 20 years old, he's coming into his physicalness. I don't know how to say it, but he's adding weight all the time. He's getting used to the bigger body and the extra weight. He's improved his skating. He's improved a couple of things. It's just blank on me. But the big part was his skating. He was having trouble to keep up with the pace. When he got injured and he went back home to Finland in the break that we had, He improved that skating. He improved the things that he needed to. And he came back and he looked really good. I kind of expect the same thing when he comes back again for next season. There's going to be a greater improvement, and you're going to see that also, I believe, in Suzuki. So that's the third line. We don't know yet who's going to go here. Fourth line, the only thing I can pretty much guarantee is Yoel Armia. He's going to be there. He's 6'4". He doesn't play the most physical game, and I wish he would play a little bit more physically. But this guy can score goals out of the blue. He's great at intercepting passes, getting in the way of passes, breaking up plays with his stick, and all that. He's great for that. He played a little bit on the fourth line in the return to play, and I thought he played really well there. They're pretty stacked on the right side. When this guy, if this guy that's going to be put here, if that's where he plays, they're going to be stacked there, and I don't see anywhere else for Yoel Armia to play, but he's a great contributor on the fourth lines. I like that. On defense, the guys we know, Sherratt, 6'3", and Weber, 6'4". That's our first pairing. I believe Edmondson, 6'4", Petrie, 6'3". That's second pairing. Edmondson gets the knock that he's not very mobile. I don't know why, because his coach and his teammates all say that he's very mobile. So this is a really good mobile defense. You might say Weber's probably the least mobile of them because of his age. He's slowing down a bit, but he still was able to keep up in the playoffs, no problem. And I think that this is a really good mobile, physical, hard to play against in front of the net defense. And that's going to go a long way to getting us to the playoffs and getting us to go far in the playoffs. This is the kind of defense you win with. Look at the size of these guys. They are mobile. They can contribute to the offense, especially this guy here and Weber. And I think the top two pairings look awesome. In nets, guaranteed. Price is the starter, 6'3". Allen is the backup, 6'2". This is as set in stone as you can get. So this is great, and it's it's going to be a great tandem, maybe the best tandem that there is in the league, I believe, this year. So now we get to who do we add in here? Actually, before we do that, let's turn this way. This is to me, the depth they have on the team. Forward depth, you got Charles Hudon, who's rumored to be going to Europe, but Montreal still holds his rights. I guess he'll probably have an out in his contract with the European team that he can come back to the NHL when he needs to. So you got Charles Hudon, Ryan Poehling, Alex Belzile. To me, Ryan Poehling's the only one really with potential here. Belzile can fill in on the fourth line, not a problem. Hudon can as well, but I think you're going to get the most potential out of Ryan Poehling. On defense, Brett Kulak, who we know could be a top four defenseman. I have him as the depth, which means probably he's not going to appear up here because we've got some really good defensemen here. Cale Fleury on the right side. I love his physical game. I think he's almost ready, but we're kind of loaded right now. But it gives us really good defensive depth, which we haven't really had good depth anywhere in this on this team in a long time. Noah Jewelson, he's been up, played, got hurt, hasn't really played since then. He needs to spend some time in the AHL, make sure he's healthy, make sure everything's good with him for a little while before he comes up, but good defensive depth. Josh Brook on the right, he's on the right side. I don't think he's ready yet. He's got a couple of years to go, in my opinion, but he's up there. And there's a couple other guys behind him. I didn't go like that deep. These are just the top four, in my opinion. Goalie depth. Besides these two guys who are written in stone, Caden Primo, going to be the starter in Laval, and the future starting goalie, I think, for Montreal. Charlie Lindgren, I don't know what's up with Charlie Lindgren. I don't know where they're going to play him, what they're going to do with him exactly, but he's there. You got, and I don't know if I got his name right, Igor Demchenko. So Demchenko, unknown, came in from the KHL last year. I haven't seen him play. I don't know much about him, but he's going to I believe he's going to be the backup to Primo in the AHL, which is why I don't know what they're going to do with Lindgren. I really don't. And you got Michael McNiven there. He bounced around in the ECHL last year. They couldn't find a good place for him. He's in the organization. I don't know where he'll play either, but that's the depth that we have there. So now we're going to fill in these positions. And I think it's pretty easy. Now, remember, this is what I think the starting lineup is going to look like on day one with this roster without any other moves happening right now. So I think you got Drouin over there. I don't know. Does that show up? No. I'm going to change my marker. Because that doesn't show up. We'll go with this. Okay, so I think you got Drouin here. There was some chemistry with Suzuki. How big is he? Drouin is also a 6-footer. There was chemistry with Suzuki in the playoffs. There was some really nice passes. They had some really good plays together. There's potential there between Suzuki and Drouin. Drouin, when he played for the Mooseheads, when he had a big bruising winger on his line, he really had his best. That was the best he played, apparently. This is what I read. So this is a good possibility here. Anderson could really open up the ice for these two guys. If Drouin's numbers and Suzuki's numbers are really high this year in the 60, 70-point range, you know that a lot of that's going to have to do with Anderson. So I expect to see this as the combo on opening night. That would obviously put Tyler Toffoli here. He's 6'1". So 6'1", Tyler Toffoli, newly acquired. Right winger that can play the left side and is willing to, and they talked to him about it before they signed him. Apparently, Bergevin asked him about playing left wing. He has played a little left wing. He's had some success playing left wing. He is willing to play left wing. So right here, though, I have him starting third line on the left side, but very easy to see Toffoli and Drouin switch. Toffoli play the left, and imagine that. Toffoli, Suzuki, Anderson sounds like a great line that's going to contribute. So I think, depending on the team, depending on the situation they're in the game, I think you can see this happen. Toffoli here and Drouin there, and wouldn't surprise me at all if opening night you see Toffoli there and Drouin here. I could see that, so that's a possibility there. So now we hit the fourth line. Fourth line, remember that. This is with guys that are here right now. I'm recording this on Wednesday, the 14th of October. So if any moves happen after that, there's going to be changes. But right now, I see Evans as the center, not Paling. He is 6'1", 6'1". So I see Evans as the center and not Paling. I personally don't believe Paling is ready. I think they're going to make him prove himself in the AHL after showing up not in shape, even though he admitted to it and he owned up to his mistakes. He showed up for the RTP not in shape. He didn't like the demotion at the beginning of the year. He had a little bit of an attitude problem that I think is cleared up, and I'm not coming down on him. But I think they're going to have him in the AHL to prove himself before he comes up. And I think Evans, and he has an S on his name, I think he starts as the fourth line center. And I think unless he's traded, we'll talk about it, Paul Byron plays the left side on the fourth line, 5'9". And I think that's your starting lineup for game one on opening day. Now, the defense, you got Sherratt Weber, Edmondson, and Petrie. And I think in his first season, I don't think they put him up too high. They let him adjust to the league, adjust to the ice size, adjust to everything. And that's Alex Romanov. I believe Romanov will win this spot. He is 5'11", and like Gallagher, plays bigger. This guy hits like a truck. He's on the small side, but he hits like he's big. And he hits often, and he's got a nasty streak, and he just looks fantastic. I believe they will start him here. I don't know if he'll work his way up during this season, but I think by next season he will. But I think he plays the first season on the third pairing. And I think his partner is Mete. Now, Mete's 5'9", so he's on the small side, but Mete has wheels. And if you look at these guys, even though they're very mobile, they're big guys. They don't skate as fast as him. I think Romanov's a pretty good skater. I think this pairing gives you a different look. It gives you a different look, different options, different things you can do. Teams can't focus in on that way that defense plays and figure out how to get around it when you got at least one pairing that gives you a totally different look. And I think that's these guys, and that's why I think is going to win that spot, those spots there. Now, they have to get they're over the cap. They have to get under the cap. How do they do that? This is my plan for how they do that. Okay, they got to move some people. We got to get under the cap. Bergevin has said he wants about $1.5 million at least as a cushion to go into the season. So in case they need to spend on a player, somebody gets injured, they got to bring somebody else in. He wants to have that available to him. So they're $353K over the cap. It's not much. Easy to move somebody. I think that you can possibly see one or more of these, and I think it'll be more because one doesn't do it. Kulak and his $1.85 million. I think they can move that. Wheel and his $1.4 million. If they move that, and Lindgren is making $800,000. I don't know what's up with Lindgren. I know he's not on the roster, so I don't know if removing his $800,000 affects the cap or not. But even if it's just Wheel and Kulak, it's enough. But we're going to add Lindgren in. It gives you $4,050,000 under the cap, or that's a total of that. You take off the $353,000, and you've got $3,697,000 in cap space. So you've got the cap space you want, and if you need to, and you really want to, you could bring somebody else in, and it'd be okay, right? You'd have the money at somebody at obviously low money. If you also move Byron, as of course is being rumored, and I think it makes a lot of sense. He's making $3.4 million for another 3 years. He's a great player. I love him in the bottom six. I really do. But it kind of makes sense maybe here that you move him. So Byron would give you another $3.4 million in cap relief, and that comes out to $7,097,000 if they make those moves. So they'll be really set. They can pick up some veteran depth for the fourth line. Obviously, to replace Byron, they're probably going to do that, and pick up some depth on defense other than what they have because they'd have moved Kulak. So they might want to go out and pick up a veteran defense so that when you get to the playoffs, if you have an injury, you're bringing in a veteran guy that you can have a little bit of reliance on. So I think that's how it goes there for the moving. Now, you might be able to pick up some veterans. So I thought we take a look at, because the left side kind of a little bit small, and you might see some movement there. If Byron goes, you got to bring in somebody on the left, maybe. So these guys at the moment, as I'm filming this, are still available. Anthony Duclair, he's only 24, so it's not that big experience, but the guy can put some goals in. Right wing, left wing, so you can play him either side. He is only 5'11", so he's not going to be that big forward that I was just talking about. But his last contract was $1.65 million AAV, so you can sign him to low money. And 66 games, 23 goals, 17 assists for 40 points. Duclair can score a little bit, so you can bring in a little bit more scoring punch on the left side. Derrick Brassard, he's 32. He's a left wing and center, so it's always good to have a guy that can fill in center if there's an injury, or at the face-off circle if the center does get kicked out. You got another guy that comes in that can take the face-off. He's 6'1". He made $1.2 million last year, and in 66 games also, 10 goals, 22 assists for 32 points. I've never been a big Derrick Brassard guy, but in this situation where you need a little bit of experience on the fourth line, might work. He's also, I believe he's from Quebec, so there's that, and that might work. There is Dominic Cahoon. Buffalo didn't give him a qualifying offer, so he's a UFA. He's 24. He plays all the forward positions. He's 5'11", again, not huge. He only made under $1 million, $925,000 last season in 56 games, 12 goals, 19 assists for 31 points. So there's another guy. He's young. You can bring him in on the up here to replace Byron, and that might work pretty good. And then there is Ilya Kovalchuk, who's not my favorite to come in here and do that. I don't think he's going to be very effective if you're playing him in on the bottom six. That's my personal opinion. He's 37. He was fantastic in his first 12 games here last season. Not ever going to take that away. But the drop-off was big. It continued in Washington, and I don't see a change there. The only reason you might bring him in my opinion, is you get him really cheap. He is great in the room with the young kids, so I'll give you that. That might be the reason you want him here. But anyways, the option is there. And the rumors are out because they said they would reach out for him if Washington didn't sign him. I don't think at this point they're going to, but he's an option. He plays both wings. He is big, 6'3". He made $700,000 the minimum last year. I don't know that you can sign him to that, but I personally, not more than $1.5 million, my personal opinion, for the 1 year. 46 games, had 10 goals, 16 assists, and 26 points total. And I think these are guys I guess you could reach out for as UFAs. The only other way is to make a trade for a guy. So that could happen. I didn't really delve into the trades, that possibilities that could come up. But you know what? When you do that, Bergevin makes a trade that nobody ever thought about. And that seems to be the way it always goes. So speculating on what Marc Bergevin might do is not easy because he doesn't really tip his hand very, very much. And it's never what you thought is going to happen. So we'll see how it goes. So there's my lineup, my way too early look at the possibility for the lineup. You can also bring somebody in on the left side, have Toffoli play there, have Drouet somewhere else, move these guys down. I mean, there's a lot of options there, but this is what I think the opening lineup's going to look like. Okay, that's my video. Thumbs up if you liked it, please. I appreciate that. And if you have any comments, you don't agree with me, let me know what you think, what you would do. Leave those comments in the comment section. That's down below. And if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button, please, and the notifications bell, and that's going to get you your daily fix of Bleu Blanc Rouge right here at Talkin' Habs. So thanks everybody for watching. I so do appreciate it. Stay safe out there, and peace out, everybody. See you next video. Bye, everybody.